as time flies by, you'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna go your way. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, 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 it's a brand new day.
James is back on the programme, and he will be actually every week, to bring a little bit of culture to Marbella Now. We're always saying about how Marbella is lacking in culture, but we do actually have quite a few museums and quite a few cool places to go and visit. We've got Ben Rolls on Thursday playing with the Philharmonic Society in Malaga, beautiful concert pianist. So there are things going on. Always. But James is up on all this, so I think it's fabulous he's coming in. But to start off this year's series of culture with James, I think we just have to mention that this week Catherine Pope is on the programme, and not only is she a forensic handwriting expert, she is also involved with the British Legion and Poppy Days and War Heroes, but it came out that she's actually Lady Catherine Pope. So then this brought the conversation up. We're actually sitting next to Lord James Cale and with his Lady Linda, but then James said, well, actually more than that, I'm also a prince. So before we start on our cultural sections week after, I have to say, first of all, Your Royal Highness,
you hardly have to do that.
Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us
I
a bit more,
I would point out
Prince James.
The Lord is a bought title, not a genuine one. But it does have a little thing saying that, you know, I do own a square foot in Scotland and have a lordship of that particular square foot.
Well, I think it's very nice, particularly with that accent. I mean, it can take you everywhere. I mean, I'm buying it without a doubt. But then the prince is real. The princedom
actually is real. It's a Persian one from a little state called Seistan, which no longer exists. But the title used to pass through the eldest child. And my great-great-grandfather, when he left the Isle of Man, stopped off in Malta, met this lady called Zorab, and married her. And if you know your Matthew Arnold, Zorab and Rustum were the founders of ancient Persia. And so that family name does run through about 4,000 years, and there's not many that do that.
That is absolutely fascinating. So do you have any contact whatsoever with the vestiges of that past?
Not a thing.
But how nice at least you know about it.
Well, at least it's there, and it's not worth a spit, but it's fun.
Well, it certainly is fun. I'm always saying you never know who you're sitting next to in Marbella. Well, we've got Prince James, lovely, from Persia, royalty of Persia. A few anecdotes apart from 4,000 years ago, your origins. What quips have you got for us to start off the year?
I don't know the quips really, but I thought it might be interesting, and maybe not, how I got into this sort of tat business. My parents had a house in a place called Southwold in Suffolk, and in the town there was a dealer called John Tuke. And John Tuke, in fact, was really rather erudite. He, for a little country antique dealer, he did know an extraordinary amount. And so to earn myself a bit of pocket money in the holidays, I used to go and work in his antique shop. And we used to do various sort of calls, clearing houses and things. And I remember very well one where we went to a house in Lowestoft, and it was an old dentist's house, and there really wasn't an awful lot there at all, except I pulled out a old brown suitcase from under a bed, opened it up and said, "Yeah," and shoved it back under, and John said, "What was that?" I said, it's a filthy lot of old broken false teeth." He said, "Get that out, get it on the van. It's the only thing we've had worth having." I thought, he's lost his marbles. I was 14. And so we get back to the shop, and he gets out a big bucket, and he gets out a little small tray. 4 pairs of pliers. 2 for me, 2 for him. And we spent 2 days cracking these bloody horrible brown teeth. But what he knew and I didn't is Victorian false teeth were fixed with platinum wire. Platinum, of course, being a noble metal, doesn't corrode, and unlike gold, it's much harder. And so all this platinum we pulled out, and he sent it off to Johnson Matthey and got 400 quid for it, which in 1958 would be about £6,000 today. So not a bad house clearance that turned out to be.
And I suppose opened your eyes that even rubbish can be worth,
well,
a lot.
I had another one. A lady came in on a Saturday afternoon and she pulled out of a plastic bag a big round plate and said, "John, I want you just to tell me, is this what I think it is?" And John looked at it and he said, "Well, what do you think it is?" She said, "Well, I think it's a Charles I silver Tatzer plate." John said, "You're absolutely right. The hallmarks are here. It's absolutely perfect. Very, very rare." She said, "How have you got it?" I said, "As long as you promise not to do anything about it, I'll tell you." She said, "It's down at the Scouts Hall at the moment, and it's marked up at £1. Now, the fair's nearly over. I'll take it back and put it back on the stand, because they'll mark it down to 50 pence as it gets nearer the end." She risked losing that to save 50 pence. Can you
why don't you
imagine?
just pay the pound and
And she got £1,600 for it
or
in
tell the
Sotheby's.
charity what they had and let them do a raffle or something was Sebastian for an auction.
She got £1,600 for the damn thing. Honestly, people, you'll never understand people.
To save that 50 pence,
To save 50
she
pence.
could have lost everything.
Could have lost the lot. Oh, we did have some fun there. I remember once there was a very smart young naval officer, and obviously his fiancée and his fiancée's parents, they were standing outside the window, and the young officer was really taking the out of the stock. And so eventually walks in the door and says, "Do you mind if I come in here and smell?" And John turns around and said, "No, sir, not a bit. I'm sure you can't help it." They were lovely sunny days. We had a store, which in the store was a horse-drawn fire engine and a brougham, a big carriage. And an American came in one day, because we used to use the store also for selling cheaper things that didn't go in the shop, and these two were obviously too big. And he said, "Oh, how much do you want for those two?" I said, I don't know. I'll have to go and ask the boss." And John said, "Oh, try him for 500. And so I said, "Oh, £500, sir." Now we're looking at 1959. £500 was, serious money. And he said, "Do you take travellers' cheques?" I was 14. I don't think I'd heard of a traveller's cheque. Anyway, we sorted it out in the end, and he sent up a low loader to take it down to Southampton to get them back to America. And the low loader was stopped 6 times on its way by people trying to buy the damn fire engine.
It's amazing. You get those unique pieces that attract attention.
Yeah, something like that is, you're not going to see it every day, that's for sure.
Hey, hey.
Yeah, I'm here in Marbella, but it says here I'm in La Canada.
If you haven't mastered the lingo, don't worry. Linear Director has a free GPS geolocator service that will come and find you. This next section is sponsored by Linear Director, tailor-made expat car insurance. Those of you who are watching from abroad might be amazed to know that I'm in Marbella and I'm wearing this thick coat. Well, yes, even here we get cold weather. So much so that in Madrid we've had cars trapped for 20-something hours in snowdrifts. And here in Ronda we've also had some horrors of people getting trapped in the snow. Even though we are on the Costa del Sol, until March we are in for some really tricky weather. It could be that the sun's shining and the next minute it's raining, and that means the dust together with the grease on the road can give them very slippery conditions. If you're going to be traveling to the Sierra, if you're going to go skiing, make sure that your tires are in good condition and you get chains if necessary. And when just driving around in general, remember the first thing in the morning, the roads can be icy, the windscreens can be iced over. Please do keep yourselves safe. And even though we're in Marbella, on the Costa del Sol of sunshine, we do get cold days, we do get snow, we do get rain, and you need to be prepared. So we're all safe. Take care.
Hey, hey.
Do you notice with the Americans that they have a, being so British yourself, although you're a Persian prince, do you notice with the Americans that they tend to be attracted to different types of things, or does it amuse you to see the things that maybe that they see the beauty in that perhaps we miss?
Well, I don't know if I noticed that. When I spent later on a lot of time in America selling horse pictures to the horse brigade, the big racehorse owners, my accent was a great help, put it that way. Oh God, we do love your accent. I don't have an accent. You have an accent. But no, from there, I was walking down Bond Street with my father, and we walked past this place called Sotheby's. And I said to him, Dad, I know that name. They just sold that Goldschmidt collection with those 7 pictures for £1 million. I'd like to go in and see that. So we went in and we sat down in the back of the sale room, and there was a porcelain sale going on. There was a little jug, no bought that, with portrait of Charles II on, and it made £300. And I came out and I said, Dad, this is what I want to do. You know, I was then 17 and rising 18. And I said, no, this is what I want to do. And so my father was a vicar, and so he was very got on with everybody. So he managed to get me an interview with a man called Richard Timewell, who was the furniture director. And Mr. Timewell said, well, what can you do for Sotheby's? I said, well, not an awful lot, but I'm fairly strong, and I can learn, and maybe when there's a vacancy in one of the departments, as I'm there,
so you knew you wanted to be in Sotheby's doing anything. You just knew when you went with your dad that something in there was what you wanted, that you felt that you belonged. Isn't that curious? I
wanted to get into that particular.
I was because you didn't say I want to be an actual, like I want to hold the gavel and I want to do the auctions. It was just you knew that whole.
I didn't know enough about it then.
But you knew you wanted to be there.
Yes, and I thought that once I was there, then I'd sort out exactly where I wanted to be, and which I eventually did.
I think that's a big help in life, if you actually know where it is you want to go. If at 17 you knew that atmosphere, that environment, because you think it'd be not much older now, but to have dedicated a life to something that you just instinctively knew when it came up that was where you were headed.
Well, it was very much that, because 3 months later I got a letter from Sotheby's saying, you know, if you're serious, we have a vacancy in 2 months' time, in January, and if you want to take it up, it's yours. And so I said, Dad, you know, I've just left school. I was halfway through an A-level course. And so went down to the school, and the headmaster was furious. He said, you've got another year to do here to finish your A-levels, and then you're supposed to be going to Sydney, Sussex, Cambridge. 3 years. And I said, well, you are, that's 4 years, and I'll be thoroughly well educated to be a porter at Sotheby's. I'll do it now.
Your dad must be devastated.
And that's how I did it. He charges the terms rent and miserable git, fees, but
it was definitely worked out well in the end.
It worked out well.
And thankfully to that, as of now, you'll be able to have James here on Marbella Now with a little cultural snippet every week to make sure we're not too far out the loop while we live here in our glorious fishbowl of Marbella paradise.
Right, and next week I'll tell you about Sotheby's.
I look forward to it. Thank you very much, sir. Oh, Your Royal Highness.
Enough of that, enough of that.
Thank you for joining us for another Marbella Now. It's lovely to have you with us. We hope you will join us again tomorrow. As tomorrow is Thursday, remember you will get your new edition of the Euro Weekly News. Completely free, great newspaper, lots of information, and my column, Marbella Moments, which I hope you enjoy as well. Well, that's it from us for tonight. Take care of yourselves, be nice to each other, y hasta mañana. Adios. Bye-bye for now.
Hey, hey.